Good morning, everybody, and welcome to The Balancing Act. We are so glad you're here. I'm Julie Moran.
And I'm Olga Villaverdi. All right, do you have a written household budget?
I'm not answering that.
All right, well, chances are the answer is no, but knowing where your money is going every month is really an important part of planning for your family's financial future, especially this month where things are really expensive. Money matters coming up.
All right, also today, choosing the best preschool for your child based on his or her individual needs. Get this, it can be easy. Don't believe me? Well, you just need to know what kinds of questions to look for, both in the education and the playtime. So we've got that on today's show.
A lot of learning today. The Balancing Act starts right now.
Do you have a written household budget? Chances are the answer is no. That's because very few of us write down our budgets. And instead, we buy what we want when we want. And while this may sound like fun, these spending patterns can keep us from getting ahead financially. And if an emergency strikes, there are no reserves to fall back on. Well, today we have some ideas on how to save for a rainy day. No matter what your income, this is possible, especially with the help of my next guest, Deidre Gwynn, Managing Director of Springleaf Financial. Deidre, great to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for having me.
You know, I just want to get right to the point. Why do you think people struggle with creating a household budget?
Budgeting takes commitment and discipline, and it's very tough to do. It's really a matter of sitting down and looking at your fixed and variable expenses and writing everything down and identifying what you can get rid of, what you can eliminate to improve your financial situation.
And why is a rainy day fund so important in your opinion?
Wow. Life happens.
Yeah.
And we can all identify with a job loss or unexpected medical or car expense, or just any other emergency, any other major financial issue that we need to help support the budget.
And we have to really think about that. That's, scary. Life happens, but it just does. So what are your ideas on helping people to save?
Well, let's start with that cup of coffee that we like to have every morning, that expensive cup of coffee. It could be something that's small, but that's a constant expense that we have that we can eliminate. And that small cup of coffee adds up if you add it up on a monthly basis, and that's great savings that we could have in that area. Being able to budget is, as we mentioned earlier, is very important. So taking a look at your expenses and being able to set money aside for that rainy day fund.
And your company helps and can help our viewers and myself guide us through ways to budget and ways to save, right?
Yes, we have a budgeting tool on springleaf.com that can assist with budgeting. We also have a credit scoring Vantage score that can also help you identify what your credit score is.
And credit scores bring up a good point. What role do they really play? And also loan debt, what does that play in your financial picture?
Your credit score affects everything you do financially. It'll affect your insurance rates, it'll affect your mortgage and your credit card rates. It'll affect your ability to get a loan with a bank. You may end up going to a payday loan company and paying triple interest rates on your credit just because of it. Springleaf is a different type of company in that we really care about our customers and their financial health, and we want to make sure that their credit is protected and that their ability to be able to repay their loan back.
Fantastic. And when people think about budget, why do you think they think it takes all the fun out of life and that I think that holds folks back from wanting to budget?
It does, and that's really not the case. It's really being able to plan for a fun vacation with your family and save that money and have that plan a year in advance and make it happen and accomplish it is a great feeling. Or setting aside $5 or $10 a week and planning a girls' weekend or a girls' shopping spree.
Yeah.
That type of thing is something that you could look forward to, that you create a plan and you go after it.
That's a great idea. I love that. Before you go, is there anything else that you really feel people should know about budgeting and about how they can use Springleaf?
They have to have a commitment to the budget, and it's important. As I mentioned, your credit affects everything you do, so having a strong financial health is important. Taking the time to sit down and write down everything, your expenses and fixed and variable, and creating that budget goes a long way. Using our budget tools, we have the budget tool on our website at springleaf.com/budget tools, and also the Vantage Score and the money skills are all important things that we have on our website that are helpful to customers.
And they're also free, right?
And they're free.
That's the best part.
That's
Viewers
best
love
part.
to take advantage of that. Deidre, thank you so much. Great advice, great info, and we loved having you in the studio.
Thank you, Julie. I appreciate it.
All right, you want to know more? Log on to thebalancingact.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Choosing the right preschool for your child is an important decision. Of course, you want them to have a safe place to play, but equally important is the right environment to help their overall development. And joining us again is Dr. Ilana Yalo, CEO of KinderCare Early Learning Programs. And Dr. Yalo, I'm so glad you're back for part 2 of this series. And remind our audience why early learning and development and looking for that right place is so important.
And as we talked about last time, the child's early learning experiences really set the stage for their success in school and later life. We know that 70% of brain development actually occurs before the time a child is even 3 years of age.
Wow.
It's so impressive. And what we also know is that there's now some long-term research that looks at the great benefits that children have if they've gone to high-quality early learning programs. They have higher high school graduation rates, more success in college, higher lifetime earnings, less contact with the criminal justice system, and there's some great new research that points out that they even have long-term health benefits if they've enrolled in high-quality early learning programs when they were just young children.
That really is remarkable, and since early learning experiences are so important, and what should parents be looking for?
The first thing parents need to know is that they feel right about the program. So they are the best judges of what's going to be best for their child and their family. But there are some things that we really encourage parents to look for in a high-quality program. The first is the quality of the interactions between the teachers and the children. That is so important to helping young children develop. And we also want to make sure that they're highly qualified and really engaged teachers that have the right professional development to support their ongoing skills. We also want to have an intentional, developmentally appropriate curriculum to make sure that the activities are right for the children. And then we look at the classroom environment. Is it safe and secure and welcoming? We also love to talk about having a language-rich or a literacy-rich environment. That means there should be lots of books, and those books should be available to the children at all times, or labeling on the shelves, or examples of the children's writing, whether it's just early scribbles or early letter formation. And one of the most important things is there's strong family relationships. We really, really want our families to be our partners.
You know, I would imagine that it's really important for the staff to listen to the family. Can you talk more about the communication you think you should see between the staff and the family?
That's such a great question. You know, it used to be that we talked about kind of family communication. What that used to mean was that we told our parents what the children were experiencing in our centers, but we really think much more broadly now about what that means. We want to have a two-way communication with our parents. It's just as important that we know what the child is experiencing at home as it is for the parent to hear about what the child is experiencing in our programs, so that there's really that continuity of the child between the experiences that they have in our schools and at home. And we're so committed to working on our family partnerships that we've partnered with the Gallup organization to measure our parents' family engagement twice a year. And that's really the emotional connection between what our parents are feeling and how they're feeling about the center. And the measure that we use and care about the most is a question that says, I cannot imagine a world without KinderCare. So you can imagine we've set a very high bar for what family engagement really looks like.
You certainly have. And talk about KinderCare. Should children be allowed to play, or should parents be more concerned with them being prepared to enter school?
You know, that's a great question. So many parents ask that. What's interesting is that it really is a false distinction between playing and learning for very young children. For the young child, it should feel playful and just they should be having fun and just really be enjoying their experiences. But from our teacher's point of view, it should be intentional. They should really know what it is they hope the children are going to be learning and what they're going to be developing while they're in our kinder care programs. And so there's some things that we really look for to make sure that they're experiencing that in our curriculum. We focus on language and literacy, we focus on cognitive development, we focus on social development and physical development. Certainly the creative arts are an important part of our programs. And then there's another area called executive function, which we could do a whole segment on.
Sure.
That's a really important part of an early child's experiences.
You know, I can see evaluating your child's needs is really important, but we shouldn't be choosing like a kinder care or somewhere to go that's close to work or close to home. That should not be the basis of why we choose. Is that correct?
Absolutely not. There are so many different programs, and again, the most important thing is to pick a program that feels right to you and your child. So that means when you're picking a center, what you really need to do is invest a lot of time in it. You should ask a lot of questions. You should visit the center. You should revisit it. Bring your child, spend as much time as you need, spend time with the teachers and talk to the center director. It really is one of the most important decisions you'll ever make for your child's life.
That's for sure. Great information. Thank you so much, Doctor. And I can't wait for part 3 of this. It's going to be great.
Oh, Julie, thank you so much for having me here.
All right, you want to learn more, check us out at thebalancingact.com or log on to Facebook /The Balancing Act fans. The book Born to Grow has been described as an entertaining exploration of the 4 pathways to personal and spiritual growth. A book filled with compelling stories, gentle humor, and practical steps for living. And joining us, pastor and author of Born to Grow, Pierre Eade. So great to have you in studio with us this morning.
Thank you, Julie. Thanks for having me.
You know, I have to know right off the bat, what compelled you to write this book?
I was only 22 years old and I had a life-changing encounter with God.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, the Lord started to teach me what it meant to grow personally and spiritually. That then became my life mission, to inspire, educate, empower people to grow. So Born to Grow was birthed out of my passion to help people grow in their lives.
Well, it's so cool that you knew your life mission at 22.
Yeah,
A lot of us don't. You know, what is the book's main message?
The book's main message is this: no matter what circumstances we face in life, God can work through all of those circumstances for our good. Because God's ultimate good is not a destination, it's not a career. God's ultimate good is our character. So God uses everything in our lives, if we allow Him to help us to grow and develop and mature as people.
All right, what are the 4 pathways you explore in the book?
There are 4 key pathways in Born to Grow: to grow up, to grow out, to grow deeper, and to grow together. Growing up is about our maturity and our character. Growing out is about service and outreach to others. Growing deeper is our relationship with God and spirituality. And growing together is about community, how to have close relationships with friends that are like family and family that becomes like friends.
You know, one book reviewer describes you as an author, and I quote, has a flair for writing that tickles the mind. Love that. Now, I want to get you to quote me something from the book that will do just that, tickle my mind.
I talk in the book about how as a young boy, I was probably a mom's worst nightmare because when the cereal box came home, remember the day when they used to have toys in the inside?
Yes.
Well, you can't find it anymore, but back in the day, I would dig in that cereal box with a spoon or with my grubby little fingers, anything I could do to get that toy out. Now, as the author of Born to Grow, I use stories and analogies and humor to help my readers dig deep to find what God has for their life.
I know I'm going to steal this copy, but for those who would like to pick up a copy of the book, where can they find one?
3 websites.
Okay.
Christian Growth Network is my writing website where you can also find free articles on growth. Secondly, borntogrowbook.com is the book's website. And on both of these sites, if you buy a book, you can find one for a reduced price and I'll get it into the hands of a U.S. soldier.
Love that.
Finally, my book is available on Amazon, both in paperback and Kindle version.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to steal this one, but our viewers know where to go to find it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Inspiration. This is a book that can both tickle and inspire. And if you'd like to learn more about Born to Grow or Pierre, visit us at thebalancingact.com or log on to Facebook/The Balancing Act Fan.
Really great show, packed with good information.
I'm going to budget now.
There you go. And be sure to check out our website, thebalancingact.com as well. Lots there for you to do.
All right, don't forget about Facebook and Twitter. Look us up. We'll see you soon. And remember, find your balance, everybody. So long.
Balance your checkbook.
Balance your checkbook.